All right, good morning, everyone. Let's get right into the stock market technical analysis. If you're interested in learning about trade ideas, trade setups, opportunities in the market, and opportunities in learning, I guess, how to read the charts, then, subscribe if you haven't done so. And then, additionally, guys, my course, I put that together. Check it out if you're interested. Again, it's going to give you, it's going to help add to the skill set that you have to read the charts, and that's really key. I continue to point that out. Reading the charts and being able to understand what the charts are telling you will give you the opportunity a lot of the time to front run the headlines. And oftentimes the charts will show what's going to come. You can pretty much write the headlines half the time based on what the charts say. Yesterday, I talked about how I thought the charts looked like we were going to get a pullback to our gap fill, and I want to go into that right now, guys. So just to wrap up, if you're interested in learning this and not just following along, because again, if you're following me, following anybody, you're behind the game. All right. So check that out. Link in the description below. Also, private member group. I continue to throw out additional trade ideas and market insights in that private member group. If you're interested, link in the description below on how to join that. Everything's affordable on my channel, guys. I'm not trying to gouge a bunch of people on YouTube. At the end of the day, I'm trading the markets right there with you. So, there's a lot more money to be made in the markets. But it's nice. It shows encouragement if you get, it shows that we're kind of a community if you guys are here and you're, you're paying for the information, that I'm giving, so that I'm not just giving it away for free and you don't seem to value it. All right. So link in the description below for all the good stuff. All right. NQ. This is NASDAQ futures. Okay. So one of the reasons why I thought we were going to gap fill, this is a 15-minute chart. But if I go down to the hourly chart, this is what it looked like yesterday, right here. All right, negative divergence on the momentum indicators as we continue to drift higher. That told me that, okay, we were likely going to have a breakdown, and the market was just waiting for a catalyst. The catalyst came with the CPI. Boom, there's your breakdown, and we're filling the gap right here. There's a little gap at 12,350, and we are filling that gap right now. So I would think we're going to get a bounce here, maybe a bounce back up to this trend line up to about 12,554. Or we're set up to get a bounce. Now longer term, I'm not exactly sure. I'm gonna have to wait to see how the day kind of settles out and kind of look around. But just with today's price action, it seems like we'll probably get a small bounce here. Looking at the triple Qs, all right. So we gap filled right there at 350, and continuing to sell off. Now the Nasdaq's down almost 4%. Pretty good size move. What I would say about the price action really this morning is if we continue down much lower, the market's gonna snap, and we should see probably waterfall selling where we're just gonna basically just start plunging, and that might be what's gonna happen. So I'm definitely open to that. I'll be jumping on that if I see it. Looking at the daily chart, just point out a couple things. If the waterfall selling is gonna start here, then I would look for us to probably pretty much just plunge straight down to about this level, 238. Over a period of maybe 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks or so, we could be down here. So definitely open to that. The selling so far this morning with how it's pretty relentless, and it continues to get sold into with a 4% drop. The biggest drops, the biggest drops you're going to see is about 5%, because I think they do a lock limit down where basically they you basically can't short on a down tick. You have to wait for an uptick to short, and then they'll halt the markets as well if they drop too much more. So again, it's we've about stretched the area of where we would sell off, but if we continue much lower, we could start to see that waterfall selling. So just be ready. Again, with the big gap down that, I caught the big gap down, from yesterday. That's a big chunk of the move, and we're seeing some more selling today. So, or, as the day's trading on. So we could start to see some of that waterfall selling. Okay. I did take some profit at the gap fill, and I'll just add back into my shorts if we start to get impulsive, more impulsive selling. So far, we've pretty much stretched the lower limits of where I thought it would go, and so I'm kind of on the edge of maybe jumping back in again. Just being the fact that we caught the big gap, it's not as high of risk for me at least because I'm sitting on a healthy amount of profit. Another way to look at this is the uptrend line that was started back in, early September. We have a sell signal on that now. You can see this trend line right here, and that with the gap down, that's a sell signal. So it's looking pretty bad out there, and we could, I just want to continue to stress that there could be a pretty impulsive move down here. Tesla here, you can see on the hourly chart, had an uptrend line right here. It was just kind of marching up into the CPI reading, and today, boom, a sell signal, breaking trend, and they stepped in early this morning and bought it, but they're starting to sell it. So looks like a sell signal. I think that's going to set Tesla up to drop, down to 280.44, and then probably down to this 274, and then ultimately I think we break. You can see that's a trend line, so I think you go maybe like that, and then probably break and head lower. Yeah, Tesla's got a ways to fall, and it hasn't really dropped that much. I mean, from the all-time highs of Tesla, it is down about 26%. But again, we never saw a washout move in Tesla. So I think there's the opportunity here for a potentially pretty sizable drop to get that washout move. For me, Tesla's profit target would still be down here. Good support down here at 184. So I like that. You can see the, support down there. So we could just, right down there. I'd want to cover a short down there for sure. SPY. So again, I talked about this false breakout potential, and I've got it kind of marked out. But I said, look, we're probably going to get a false breakout. That's the way I was leaning. And there it is. SPY, this is an hourly chart. You can see we were above here just recently, yesterday, I guess. And today, boom, gap down, false breakout, bull trap. All right, that's what's going on. So we likely are going to head down and SPY down to about 395, 394, 70, somewhere right in there. Probably hold there for the rest of the week, I would think. But again, this is the uptrend line. This is the rally in SPY. You break that, you're most likely setting up for the next leg lower. Flipping over to the daily chart, this is what it looks like. We started the rally back in mid-June. Okay, your bear market rally. The next sell signal for the bear market to continue would be a break, an impulsive break of this trend line right here on this daily chart. Okay, good support here as well, 389, 390-ish. So, you might hold bounce there a little bit, but at the end of the day, we start breaking these levels, 390 and this trend line about 395-ish. Depends on when you actually break, but you start breaking those, and it's going to tell me that, okay, we're getting that next flush down in the bear market. Okay, LLY. Okay, looks good for more downside. So again, if you look at what I was tracking, the bigger picture, this is for me more of a swing trade, so I'm not too worried about the day-to-day, but bigger picture, you've got if I zoom in on the daily, you've got a bearish rising wedge pattern right here, all right? And that wedge was broken. Our sell signal came here. We had a series of back tests for a couple weeks or whatever. And then they tried to make it look like it was going to do another back test. I didn't think it was going to do it. And then if I zoom down to the hourly, you can see that we created another small little bearish rising wedge, broke, sell signal, down we go. So we should head down to 350 and then should break that, maybe hold there for a few days, maybe a week or so, but we should break that and start to head down to our target at 284. So everything looks good in LLY short land. And the other thing is big negative divergence on the daily chart. So I think there's a lot more to go on this. And I'll probably be adding to my short on a break of this level right here, this 350. We start breaking that. That will be the next sell signal for me to add to the short for the move down here. All right, good support down there, so we should get a bounce down there. Gold. Okay, so gold's selling down today. Makes sense, you know. The CPI came out hot, so they sell gold. That's what the algos are programmed to do. So here are my thoughts on gold. All right. There's some interesting price action in the miners that starting to look interesting. I don't have enough information in the miners yet to want to have a really long position, but there are, I think, some areas where you maybe can start to nibble, start to build a position, you know, starting small and just adding to it. But and that's kind of what it seems like on gold. But here's what I think is going to happen. So this is gold bullion. You can also look at GLD if you want. We've got big support here at 1680. All right, as I zoom out on the daily, you can see there's all these reactions. It's just big, clear, obvious support. I think we need to take that level out. All right, so here's what I'm thinking is going to happen. We're going to break down, take the level out, trade down here just for a week or two, recover, and this is going to be your big false breakdown. Now, this would likely happen on the Qs continuing to drop down to its pre-COVID highs of about 240, and gold would likely run down here. And then I think the Fed's going to be forced to start to back off, and that's going to signal the false breakdown in gold. So that's what I'll be looking for. See if we get that. We start to break down. I won't take any trade there, but you know, but I would be really interested to see the recovery. And if you get the recovery, that's likely it. That's likely the end of the selling in gold, and we should rally from there. The miners, GDX, again, on the daily chart, we continue to have bullish divergence. See it right there? Bullish divergence on both momentum indicators. So it's still bullishly constructive, basically. If I roll down to an hourly chart, I've got this uptrend line, potential uptrend line to watch. 1, 2 reactions. I need to see another before I can call that an uptrend line. So maybe we sell down and get a bounce there and hold. If we start to hold that trend, then I think we've started to establish an uptrend in gold and the gold miners. Yeah, so that's it. That's my thoughts on gold. I think gold, the metal, is probably going to have that little washout move. The miners might chop around and start to build a base. But I just don't see enough yet. That makes me just love this area. Oil. So oil is kind of at support right here at about 86 on the oil futures. We start to break that, we should head lower, but until I see anything there, it's just we're at support. So no real trade. And then like CEIX was a trade I pointed out the other day. Again, just kind of holding this support area of about 65.40. You can see support. We've just been holding it for, you know, a week or so. So until that goes, it's at support. I covered my short trade. Again, that was like a 10% profit in a day trade. So covered that and just waiting for, you know, the next sell signal. But oil's just not that interesting to me quite yet. All right, moving on. First Solar, again, continues to bounce off this support line on the hourly chart. It bounced off it again today. So I'm still waiting for the breakdown and the sell signal. We don't have any sell signal yet. Looking at the daily chart, we have negative divergence on the PPO. Don't quite, you know, we kind of have it on the RSI. It's not perfect, but, you know, it is there. But again, just waiting for that sell signal. So this one's definitely on watch for a breakdown, and we just got to wait. Okay, so to wrap up, guys, today's not really the day that I'm really looking at taking a bunch of new positions, especially not shorting, only because, again, when you get a big gap down like that, you have a lot of the late to the party people that want to short. They didn't want to short yesterday. They want to short now. So we could continue to see, you know, that trade play out, but I suspect that we'll probably get a small little bounce before that, and then I might look to short into that bounce. That's kind of what my thoughts. And then, but again, you know, if we continue to see that sell off, then we'll just adjust accordingly. And I'm going to just scan over the charts and look for any new setups and interesting ideas, because if we're going to start the next leg lower, there's lots of opportunity to short some of these tech stocks, maybe semiconductors, things like that. So I'm going to wrap up here, guys. Drop me a thumbs up on your way out. Leave a comment. Catch you on the next one. Bye.